Good evening and welcome to all viewers viewing in to the live streaming of Voiceit talk show. I'm your presenter Stuart. I just need to read our disclosure first. We don't take any responsibility for offensive languages or videos with live streaming. COVID-19. Our candle on our screen is for all the people that lost their loved ones with the COVID-19 epidemic. And we keep on praying for full recovery. Keep the distance, and please, Voiceit is definitely there for vaccination. Please go and get yourself vaccinated. Our talk show will be broadcast in English and in Afrikaans. Show is for any person, organization to voice their opinion in the Free State and around the world. The platform is to share information and knowledge. The viewers can also interact and ask relevant questions. Tonight's topic is autism and people with special care. Before we start, I'm just going to read you a bio of our guest here tonight. It's a very short bio. Apart from working 5 years in America as an occupational therapist, I am a local girl. I went to Willem Posma Primary School, Central Secondary School, and graduated at UOFS. When I came back from America in 1997, I started Voiceit daycare for people with special needs. Next year, Voiceit daycare will be 25 years old. We serve children and adults with a variety of diagnoses, including autism. We're going to play a slideshow photos of Beulah that you can just understand much better, and that she can also relax in our studio before we start. We'd like to welcome our guest here tonight. Beulah, you are more than welcome in our studio.
Thank you very much, Stuart. It's so nice to be here with you, and I'm sure we're going to have a fun-filled evening.
Thank you, you are more than welcome. Before we start, we're going to just give you a slight background, a video clip of Voiceit daycare when we visit this place.
I started Voiceit in 1989. We started out in Westdean in Bloemfontein with 3 children. And initially I thought I was going to work with little kids that we could rehabilitate and then send to special schools. But the first 3 were boys, and they were all 11 years old. And then soon I realized that the need was to take care of teens and young adults, because the school system are quite adequate for smaller children. But when they're not able to flourish or develop, they can't be held in the schools, and they need to go somewhere else. And a lot of times there's no place for those kids to go. And after they turn 18 years old, they have to leave the school system altogether. And the residential care is capacity is full. It's been full for many years. So children that are not able to function on that level, and children that are 18 years old really has nowhere to go. And thus Budin grew in 1989 from 3 children to 70 children today.
They focus better when they have someone to connect with individually, a one-on-one connection. So it is important for them to be integrated with various people and not secluded just as a class of autistic people, because they do need social skills, and you can't really put a person with antisocial behavior together with a bunch of other people with antisocial behavior and expect them to learn social skills. So we feel having them integrate with all these people that we've got here that are extremely social has been very beneficial to them, but it's not enough. They still need a one-on-one educational input. They should actually be feeling sorry for us in a sense, because we need so much and they need so little, and they can be absolutely happy with just a little bit of love and care. That's the most important thing, and just someone to believe in them. So and the honesty, they're honest, they're truly honest. There's no pretenses and things that you usually get out in the normal world. So I believe that they should be the ones to feel sorry for us, actually.
There you have seen a slideshow of a background of her place, and feel free to ask questions later how the program goes. But to start off, Beulah, occupational therapist, what career is it? Can you give us more detailed information of an occupational therapist?
Stuart, an occupational therapist is a supplementary medical position. So we work in the hospitals with physios, with speech language pathologists, with doctors, with rehab doctors, with dietitians, and our role is to increase or better the functioning of an individual after an accident, an incident, an illness, or even due to a birth defect, a syndrome, something like autism. So the job of an occupational therapist, and where it stemmed from originally, is the arbeidstherapeut. And that came from Europe, where it referred to helping somebody to be arbeidsaam, able to occupy, able to take on a job. So that is really traditionally the work of an occupational therapist, is to integrate our patients or our clients, in my position, it's my children, to integrate them into a system where they can self-actualize, where they can find themselves, and where they can be productive in the community and the environment that they are in. Occupational therapists work with all individuals, from newborn babies, even before birth, up to old age people that are 99 years old living in the retirement village, and we can help everybody to have a better quality of life.
So you would say it is actually important, if a person was involved in an accident or got a rebirth problem, that they need an occupational therapist to help them.
Yes, the occupational therapist is the person that comes in to help them with their activities of daily living. So if the occupational therapist doesn't come in, that person will probably not be able to eat independently, bathe independently, go to work independently, put on their clothing independently. So we start with the basics, and it's terribly important that we can get somebody to do the basic things right and independently, so that they can develop into a better life and into a better social structure.
Okay, the intellectually disorder, that word, how can you explain or give us more information about that word, intellectually disorder?
The diagnosis changed from the mentally impaired to the intellectually disabled individual. So these are our people that are functioning on a lower IQ. So they have an IQ that are below average. So they don't have the reasoning and the reasoning that me and you have. They usually don't have the ability to problem solve very well. Many times they're not able to communicate very well, and most of the time they're not able to handle stress or stressful situations, because they're not able to, in that area, evaluate the problem and then act accordingly in an appropriate manner.
Okay, I see. We're going to come back later to that one. Let me tell you, I visit her place twice, and when we did a video shooting on Friday, I was there for 2 hours. And I must be honest with you, it was like I was in another world. The aura was so powerful there with these people there, the adults and youngsters. I could feel love. I could feel the energy. They just want to touch you. They are asking you questions. It was just, for me, another world that you won't believe. I will encourage you, if your children don't have this problem, or if you have a family, just go and pay a visit and just be around those kids. I can tell you, you're going to be totally different, and it was healing me a lot. We're going to look at the video clip and see what Beulah and her team is doing with these people there.
Daar sy lag nou lekker. Daar sy. Daar sy.
Right, there we have seen the intellectual disabled people. I know years ago from Heidedal, my mom, we used to call it the aanpassingsklas. So can you, but what we see, they are working mostly with their hands. What is the reason, Beulah?
Well, now what we looked at are my kids that are adults and kids with intellectual disabilities. And they are also on a spectrum. Some of them function very high, some of them are completely independent, can speak, can go to the shops, can even draft a list of things that they need in the house and go shopping with some supervision. And then others of them, they need total supervision, or they need total care. So they need to be dressed, and they need to be fed, and they need to be cared for. All of these kids do need care for their safety, and for their hygiene. They will never be able to drive a vehicle or go to a job independently without a job coach, or take responsibility for, say, for instance, their own finances. Things that you and me take for granted every day, those are things that they're not able to do. So what we do in the classroom, we do a wide variety of activities. We do handcraft work, we do cleaning, we love to clean up. We have a group that loves to make a big dirt, and those are usually the young boys, because they're still very kinesthetic and they need to explore. So they always make a mess. And then we always have the older kids that love to engage in cleaning up, because they're good at cleaning up. So, and we also like them to do those kind of tasks that also that they can carry over to the household. So if they can use a broom in the class, they can use a broom at home. If they can use a vacuum cleaner in the class, they can use a vacuum cleaner at home with great success. And then they're also helping mommy and daddy. So those are great skills to develop. That also develops their self-esteem, because they feel they are responsible. So we do all kinds of things, and everything we do is stimulating. If it's tolletjie braai, it's stimulating, because you have to concentrate and you have to work bilaterally, and you have to think of an end product that you're going to make with this tolletjie that you are now producing. Or if you're now doing mosaic, then you have an open space that you have to think, how in the world am I going to now develop this into something that is functional, or something that's pretty that I can sell. So you have to make a plan, and planning is very, very important for us. So we're constantly stimulating everybody's cognition. But the big thing in our classroom that I think is different from other classrooms is the caring aspect, because we integrate youngsters, even babies, teenagers, and adults. So we give the bigger children or adults die geleentheid to be the caregiver of a smaller child, or even to stimulate that child's cognition, to be able to teach them how to draw in between the lines, or how to read, or how to write, or to take walks in the veld. So we facilitating very important relationships, because in the end of the day, that caring activity is really the thing that sets somebody apart from just doing tabletop work, because it's important for us to attach to one another and to mean something to one another, rather than just being able to fold letterheads. You see.
What I've noticed there is that I saw a bigger girl. She was driving this one in the pram the whole time. So that is the responsibility that you were talking about.
It's a huge responsibility, and that older girl is already in her 30s. So if she was a normal girl, she would have been a mommy. She would have been a married mommy. But now, because of her intellectual disability, she's not able to be a married mommy. But she still has that mothering skill, and she still has the ability, but also the need to be somebody's mother, to take care of somebody else. And the little girl is autistic and she's very hyperactive, so we need somebody to take care of her and be on her and make sure that she doesn't get into a dangerous situation, or that she doesn't break things or climb on top of the refrigerator. So it works out well for the girl, for the older girl and for the younger girl. And at the same time, the attachment is forming between the two parties. They both feel good because they get love and care, and it's unconditional. And in the end of the day, the bigger child is role modeling good behavior to the little one. So it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Tell me, whilst you are giving them these instructions, is there sometimes that they are lazy? With normal kids, they are totally lazy. The moment you turn your back, they will go and do their own things. How are they accepting their responsibility?
Yeah, I think they're less lazy than normal kids. I think they're very cooperative, and they love responsibility. Especially the Down syndrome kids, they take total responsibility of the classroom. They will clean it up, and they will place the tables, and they will make sure that everybody is fed, and that it's clean around them, and that the little kids do their chores because they are quite strict. So I usually don't have a lot of problems with laziness, but of course you do, and many times the big problem is medication, because many of our kids are on very serious medication that makes them tired. So sometimes you have to distinguish between, are they lazy or are they tired? And many times it's just a little bit of tiredness. And that's also the other thing. If your friend next to you are hardworking and they want to perform and do their best, there's that positive competition. And positive competition is a huge driving force in people's lives. That's why me and you work, because we compete a little bit with the neighbors, but we also need to compete with a bank account. So we have a reason to stand up and go to work every day. And this is the same thing with our children. If they're in a social environment, there's that positive competition. If this child can build this 30-piece puzzle, then his friend is also going to want to build that 30-piece. Yeah, because I'm coming in and say, wow, but that's great work. I'm so proud of you. And the other one is feeling, but I want her to be proud of me too. And then he's also doing that. So the whole environment, without us having to structure it very much, it just falls into that thing of creating a place where the kids become self-motivated, because they can engage in activities that they're interested in and have friends that engage in it with them.
Tell me, how do they accept one another there? Easily, difficult?
Mostly easily. But at times, there's also jealousy. And sometimes, if a new child comes in, many times they will have to learn how to adapt to that child's needs or behavior. Because we have all kinds of different behavior patterns, because we work with children with all kinds of different syndromes and autism spectrum. So the behavior, many times we have to teach one another that with this one you have to be very quiet and just be relaxed, and don't push the issue, because that child might snap easily. And that thing is extremely important for our children to develop their social skills. Because if they are in an environment where they only see one or two other people, they're only exposed to one or two other people's personality, they're not going to develop new social skills or understanding, because the big thing is they need to develop insight in why is this person like that, and why is this person like that, and why is this one friendly, and why is this... And the more people they get exposed to, the more they see how behavior differs, and what results they get on the way they treat those people.
Does these kids see any color between one another?
You know what? We don't see color. We are all special, we know that, and we are very proud of it that we are special, and the kids really don't see color. They are color blind. And I think most of our parents also, because when you're in a situation where you have a child with special needs, that changes your whole outlook on the world, because then the last thing in the world that can bother you is somebody's color.
Okay. People, I'm repeating again, just go and visit the place. Just see that environment. It's like you are in a different heaven there. I will go again and visit there. But please send your questions in the meantime. We're going to look at the autism class of the little ones, where they are giving them class, and we discuss it again after this video.
Smile, smile, daar say. Daar say. Mag. Maar kom bij. Daar say. Go. Daar say. Baie julle vir my.
Baie dikkie. Baie.
Daar say.
Baie. Hey, very nice. Kom, go dan man, baie vir my. Baie sharp. Sharp.
Nog net so 'n bietjie. Nog. Nog.
Ek wil nie moeg nie.
Go.
Goeiemôre, maat. Gaan dit met julle? Hoe gaan dit met julle? Hoe gaan dit met julle? Goeiemôre, maat. Gaan dit met julle? Sussie? Gaan dit Larissa? Larissa? Inderdaad, Toekie. Gaan dit Reiner? Gaan dit Renier? Hallo my skat. Hallo Sunny. How are you? High five. Are you well?
Right, kom ons kyk, daar van die week.
Maandag, Dinsdag, Woensdag, Donderdag, Vrydag, Saterdag en Sondag.
Vandag is Vrydag. Today is Friday. The 12th of November. Let's count to 12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Kom ons tel in Afrikaans.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
In die maande van die jaar, wie ken die maande van die jaar? Kom ons sing hom. Januarie,
Februarie, Maart, April, Mei, Junie, Augustus, September, Oktober, November, Desember.
Kom maar, Boppie. Wat's die weer? Kan jy sien? Skyn die son buite, val die reën buite. Kan jy sien? Can you tell? Is the sun shining? Is the rain falling? Can you tell? Okay?
Ek weet die sondag.
Nee man, dis wind. Nee man, dis reën. Nee man, dis baie wolke. Is dit son?
Ja.
Sien jy reg?
Ja.
Kan nie so buite, Minkie.
Ja.
Okay.
Son. Jaden, kyk gou. Waar's die son? Hierdie een of hierdie een? Waar's die son? Kan jy hom vat? Wat is jou handjie? Daai ene ja. Dis die son, nee? Mooi.
Klaar.
Genade, wat vir die seisoen? Is
There you've seen a little bit of the class, how they teach these children. All right, some of them were mixed with the autism, but if we can come back to autism disorder, can you give us more detail? What is autism disorder, Beulah?
Okay. Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder characterized by impaired social interaction, verbal and non-verbal communication, restricted and repetitive behavior, a sensory disturbance, and many times just unfunctional behavior.
You've said a lot of words. Can you break it down and make it easy for our viewers?
Okay, I'll try to as I understand it.
Yeah.
This is my experience with autism. It's a spectrum. So we know it's a spectrum. So we have children functioning low, little bit better, quite high. The biggest problem with autism is their communication. So many of them don't have speech. They're still developing speech, or they have completely inappropriate speech, like echolalia. Like I would say to a client of mine, I would say, "Good morning, Cabello," and then he will reply, "Good morning, Cabello."
Okay.
So then an appropriate speech would be, "Good morning, Beulah." If I ask him, "How are you?" he will say, "How are you?" And then he will echolalia, but in between somewhere he will say, "Very well, thank you." You understand? So he has language and he has a vocabulary, but he doesn't know how to use it appropriately. Then we have children that doesn't speak at all, so they are non-verbal or pre-verbal. So we are hoping that they will still develop speech, but many of them will never develop speech. So we help them in a world where there's lots of speech to still communicate with pictures or with sign language or with different kinds of help middles. And then there's also that's the speech, the communication.
So there's different type of autism.
These are the golden line between all of them. So
Okay.
they will have communication problems that has a lot to do with their speech. They will also have social interaction problems that has a lot to do with the appropriateness of their behavior or their behavioral problems. And then there's also a problem with how their creativity. So they will be very stuck to a certain pattern. They don't have lots of great imagination, and they have typical behavior that repeats all the time, and they will do the same thing all the time, and they will say many times the same thing all the time. So they get obsessed with certain things, and all three types of the diagnosis on the spectrum of autism. Of course, it's the classic autism, the Asperger's on the other side of the spectrum, and then the pervasive developmentally delayed diagnosis, and they differ. Some children are much more affected, and some children are delayed in their milestones. So they don't have normal milestones. They don't sit. They don't walk. They don't talk. And the normal milestones like a normal child would. And some of them will sometimes never reach those milestones. Where of the other children, they are quite active and they can run around and they're very kinesthetic and they can do a lot of different activities, but they maybe not be able to speak and they have a lot of obsessive behavior.
Tell me, at what age, after this child is born, that a parent can pick up there is a problem actually with the child? After how many months, or what symptoms can the parents look at?
You know, there's so many different studies, but they've now recently had studies in Great Britain where they try to pick up autism through a baby's ability to make eye contact, and there they can pick them up as soon as they start to make eye contact within 3 months, 4 months. So, and then they can start with very early intervention. But usually, it's usually picked up when children start speaking. So children usually start speaking after between a year and 2 years. They will start saying mama, papa, dada, nana, you know, all those kinds of words. But at 2, they should be able to say a very simple sentence. And what happens then is many of the children just don't speak, and they won't respond to somebody calling them by their name. They won't look around and say, okay, when I call you Stuart, then you will just go on with what you're doing, and you don't recognize that I'm even speaking to you. And they will pick that up as a red flag for autism. And many times what we've seen in the practice is that parents will take the children to see somebody to test their ears because they will think that the kid is maybe deaf.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. What you are telling me, sometimes this kid will be busy with something, and you will talk to the kid, and according to his mind, does he hear you or does he ignore you, or?
He just doesn't hear you. It doesn't respond to it. It doesn't make sense to him. So that makes...
And then the parents start screaming on the kid.
Yeah, the parents thought, the parents then realized, but now when I'm trying to interact with the child, then he doesn't give attention to me. He doesn't... Those are one of the signs. Then, of course, there are other signs also, like hand flapping, you know, they will... The obsessive thing, a lot of them, like, you know, they will sit in front of a fan and just watch the fan go around, or they will be obsessed with how the dry cleaner works. You know, they will just sit in front of that, or they will do completely ridiculous things and climb. If you look for them, they climb on top of the roof or whatever, because they don't have a sense of danger. So those are all red flag behavior in little kids that we need to attend to see, okay, now this child may be on the spectrum. Many times they only pick it up when the children goes to school. Then the teacher sees that the child is not responding, and he's not responding appropriately. He's not using speech. He's very hyperactive. Doesn't make eye contact. Just play with these 2 cars all the time, and they must be in a row all the time, or has the hands flapping. So many times it's only picked up when they go to preschool, and then it's they will send it to a doctor, and eventually hopefully get it diagnosed before they have to go to primary school.
So you would advise us, it's very important that a child like that needs to be in a special care.
They do. They need to get special treatments. They need to get all the therapy that they can get their hands on. So usually those children will get occupational therapy. They will get they will get speech and language therapy. And even many times see a dietitian and a physiotherapist. If they're developmentally delayed, they're definitely going to need a physiotherapist and an occupational therapist. And if they have problems with their speech and their cognition, then they're definitely going to need. So that in the end, they need all the therapy that they can get. But they also need to be in an environment where they are understood, and where there is people that has insight and passion for autism. because it's draining. The kids are very busy and active, and you have to work with them in a very special manner to get them to progress, but also to help them to improve their behavior so that they can function in groups and in a school environment.
One thing that I realized that's important is that what Beulah said, that sometimes you will talk to this kid and this kid won't hear you actually, and sometimes parents think it's the kid is naughty. But you know what? In the spare of the moment, I had a friend that her kid is also very, very aggressive sometimes. And in the spare of the moment, when I visit Beulah, an incident happened and my camera was too late, where one autism guy became very aggressive, and that was so important for me that Beulah must explain what does this aggression causes. Let's quickly look at this video clip. We're going to play it twice that you can quickly see what was happening there. Now that was so important for me to find out actually with autism people, why are they getting so aggressive? And just that small clip meant so much to me that Beulah can explain to the parents actually what does that cause this kid to get so aggressive.
You know what, with this specific child, it's a male adult, and he is on the spectrum. Autism is also a spectrum of anxiety. And it starts with, like my teachers just told me before I came, it starts with their basic needs not being met. Nee? So we need to feel secure. We need to feel fed. We need to drink water. We need to have... we need to be in an environment where we feel safe, and then we also need to be loved and appreciated. Now, what happens in an environment with a child with autism is that when the environment changes, like that day now specifically, we had lots of changes because we were putting up the market and you were visiting us, and we weren't doing things that we were doing normally. We were out of the pattern. It was a Friday. It was a little bit busy. It was, and this child has an expectation because it's also his birthday. So now he's also going to be celebrating his birthday, and all of a sudden he has anxiety. There's now so many things happening. Is his birthday? Are we still going to celebrate his birthday? What's going to happen? There's so many things you can go through in his mind, but what is happening at that moment is anxiety. And the only way to get rid of the anxiety is aggression, because now when you're anxious, then you produce a lot of adrenaline. So what are you going to fight, or are you going to flight? Yeah. So he's a fighter. So he immediately starts getting aggressive because that's what his adrenaline tells him to do. But we know him very well. We know if we just go to him in a calm manner and speak to him and tell him that it's not appropriate, and he can go outside and he can be alone and rethink and reboot and regulate himself, he will be fine.
So how can parents prevent that it doesn't happen, or is it the nature that it is going to happen with the autism child?
That depends from child to child. No one is the same. But what we find is that if you can, the security of the environment, the program doesn't have to be exactly the same all the time. But what helps is to go to the same place at about the same time and to interact with the people that are in control. The teachers must be the same people with the same kind of temperament. So if I'm there, one day I'm up, other day I'm down, one day I'm happy, other day I'm angry, then I'm also playing into their anxiety. But if we can keep it just calm, and we can keep the the conflict as low as possible, then that child will come in, feel their security, somebody's in control, everything is going to be okay, I'm going to get my food, I'm going to be able to eat. But now also, when the children like that start with us, then we have to go through a time space to get to know them, because some children will react very negatively towards loud noises. Like we had a boy that cried passionately every time Celine Dion sang a song. You know, if Celine Dion was on the radio, and we had to figure that out. And then we have other children that will cry passionately about the picture that they selected yesterday and put underneath the cushion is gone now, and nobody knew about that. It was his special, you know. But he attached himself to that. So we have to get to know the children. So it's a long process. So the longer we can work with one another, and the longer we can develop that relationship, the child has the ability to come and feel secure enough to tell us this and that is a problem, or show us this and that is the problem, and we can develop a relationship where we know that when there is an outburst or a meltdown, we are able to handle it.
You know what? When I visit Beulah's place the first time, I went with my motorbike, and it was chaotic there. Everybody was around me. I had to give my gloves. I had to give my helmet. And the second time, everybody wanted to be on the camera. The other one wanted to pull the camera and see what's going on. And even the guy that was getting so angry. But what I noticed of them, they just go and talk soft to them, soft. And they just disappear or go and sit. Whereas we with our children, we'll slap them, we'll hit their hands. Why do you do that? You talk so soft and immediately they release. Can you explain this?
Yeah, you have to. The big thing is, en ek wil sê dis 'n geheim, die geheimenis is 'n sagte woord laat die grimmigheid afkom, nee.
Alright.
So if we can just keep the temperature down, and when that person has a meltdown, just speak to them nice and calmly and try to get them into a place where you can remove them from the other children, because many times the other children will get excited and they also get anxious. So we want to remove that one that has a meltdown and take that person to a private spot where they can regulate whatever they need. You know, some of them need food, some of them need to go to the toilet, some of them need to drink water, some of them need to just be alone or just sit in the sun. Or so every child, some of the kids really need to go and have a swing, sit on the swing, you know, or play with a specific toy. Some of them need to mother a toy, you know, to feel like they're mothering themselves, like they will tell themselves, it's okay. So you see, but you have to get to know every child has a different temperament and has different things that will affect them. And sometimes it's just you're not able to know what it is, because they can have a physical problem, something that's hurting, a sore tummy, and they're not able to express it.
Oh, I see.
So so it's very important to be able to guide the child into communicating their need.
All right, but that day when I was there, I don't think there was a sore tummy. They were just full of energy, and the teachers will just
excited.
Go and sit. They don't argue. They just go tightly and sit. But you can send some questions. We're going to our next. No. Before I go, I'll come back to that question later. We're gonna go and talk about Down syndromes a little bit. But before we do that, I was instructed by this lovely child, you must put me on video. I must tell the people this. And I was so excited I had to take her to a side and interview her. I hope she's watching herself on this video. Listen to what this child is saying.
My naam is Tineke en my van is Hartler. Ek het judo gedoen in 2005 het ek begin. En daaraan het ek aangegaan met judo en ek het aangegaan om verder te gaan om 'n junior swart belt te kry en dit was nie maklik nie. En nou is ek die enigste persoon met Down syndroom in die wêreld met 'n junior swart belt in Suid-Afrika in Bloemfontein.
I was so super proud on this child. She's the first or only Down syndrome junior black belt in judo. Can you tell us more about the,
Well, I can tell you that Tineke is a very proud girl, and she's a very hard worker, and she's very responsible, and she's great in judo. That's why I keep her close to me so she can protect me. She's also extremely creative, and that's something with our kids. It's sometimes you're just stunned by how creative they are. All the children, they will just come up with things and drawings and interesting stuff and buildings and engineer works and whatever that you wouldn't expect, because they just, when they're free, they can be creative, and when they feel safe, they can be creative. So she's also extremely creative.
Yeah, she was, in any case, tell me she got a boyfriend. Her boyfriend is a photographer and he's taking such lovely photos, and I was enjoying her so much. Their lifespanning, how long do you estimate lifespanning on Down syndrome people?
You know, many years ago, they didn't grow much older than in their 20s. But now I've got a friend that comes to see us now and again, and she's already 52, 53, and she's in great health. And all our kids, because with Down syndrome, they usually have also problems, so heart and lung problems. So that is the thing, that in the olden days, they tend to get pneumonia, and then they would get very ill. But now if they are in caring families, they can grow very old, and they can have very wonderful, full lives, and full of relationships, and everything that is great, you know. And they can take part in everything. They can do judo, they can do art, they can be a part of a church community. They can sing and they can dance. They can have a full life. Yeah.
Tell me, churches, how does churches accept autism children or Down syndrome? Because I see they can't sit quiet for a long time. How does the churches accept them? Or
you know what? I think the problem is not with the church. The problem is really with the other patrons. And it's not just in church. It's in our community, because people don't understand children and adults with special needs. So what happens in our community is that the parents are rejected in such a way, because as the children gets older and they don't necessarily have appropriate behavior, or maybe it's an adult child but still needs diapers, or it's an adult child that still can't express himself and makes noises in the church row queue next to you. You know, that becomes an issue with the other patrons and other parents that doesn't understand what special needs are all about. And then they're forced to take their children, withdraw from that community. And many of our parents end up alone at home with their special need child, because the community are not always open to accept them just for who they are.
yeah,
So it's a problem. You can with autism, it's a problem because many of those children, most of them, are not able to to keep quiet or to sit
Yeah.
still. So for them to attend something like a church function, you really need to have a special environment for them.
Okay.
So we have our church session every Thursday, and we have a special lady that comes in and she does a Bible story on the children's level with lots of visual stuff and pictures that they can understand.
Yeah.
And they can sing along, and they can also, if they want to stand up and say something, they can stand up and say something, because there's nobody that's going to tell them, sit down, be quiet. So creating that environment where they can actually have that spiritual experience is very important. What I want to also say about that is that our children are very spiritual. You know, they are disabled. They have disabled bodies and they have disabled souls, but they're not disabled spiritually.
Definitely.
And they care for one another spiritually, and they also pray for other people spiritually. They are intercessors. That it's amazing how they feel the need for somebody to be spiritually uplifted, and they flow with that, because there's nothing. They don't have the IQ that stops them, that says, "No, you can't do that. You know, you can't do that. You're going to shame somebody, or you what." They don't shame nobody, and they don't. So they can be out there and they can preach and they can be lovely, and people love them for that. They don't offend.
The Down syndrome, they can work also independently.
They can. They can. There's lots of Down syndrome children in the world that has formal jobs. So they can work very well independently, and they can even earn their own money. The big problem in South Africa is transportation.
Oh, I see. Because this one, what was the name? The judo?
That was Tinaka.
Tina even called me. She's on Facebook. She was showing me on her phone and how quick she can work on that phone. So that was something that was quite interesting. I want to just show you some artwork that they were doing, and there's a logo that Beulah is having on a t-shirt that she can explain to us. There, last one, the amazing
Place
between heaven and earth. And like I told you, I was in another world there. How did you come to that logo?
You know, that was my very, very best friend and promoter, Albie Lowe from Spadazzo Enterprises. She came up with that. She came up with that one day. We also had to do an interview. And she said that that's her experience, is that Budine is just a place between heaven and earth. You can't say it's earthbound, but it's not yet heaven-bound. But we are somewhere in between, because it's just different from any other place in the world.
No, definitely. And I would say there's already God-giving children.
Absolutely.
Definitely, now you agree with me.
Absolutely.
Right. We are moving to cerebral palsy. We're first going to look at the video that of these kids, and then Beulah is going to explain to us also cerebral palsy. Beulah, this type of a job is definitely not a job. This is a God-giving career thing that God have blessed you and your workers there to look after these kids. I could feel it that day when I was there. You're just not doing it for the money. You're doing it for more than love. And I think our viewers will agree with me with this. The cerebral palsy, how does their brain function?
Oh. You know, cerebral palsy is usually because of an oxygen shortage. It could have been from a motor vehicle accident and very serious brain damage from a motor vehicle accident. Also from a birthing accident where the child doesn't get enough oxygen when they go through the birthing channel, or early many of them are premature. So so there is definitely brain damage, and that influences everything. And the biggest thing is that they don't have control over their muscles, so they are either spastic, so all the muscles are clinged together very tightly, or they are very flaccid, they like just floppy babies, or they have a little bit of both, like that one little boy that you saw there. But the problem is that they are not able to do things for themselves, so they don't have movement, willekeurige beweging. So they can't decide that I'm going to pick up this glass of water and I'm going to put it to that they can't reach it because their muscles doesn't work together because of the brain functioning and all the spasms, and it's a neurological problem.
But my question is, can they in their brain see they want to pick up the glass or not really?
They can see they want to. They can see they want to, but they can't get their arm to work together.
Okay.
Yeah, and some of them are cognitively very intelligent. They are able to do lots of stuff, but they have to get lots of therapy to get them to walk normally or appropriately, or to be able to pick up a pen and write, or to do simple tasks like cut bread, make a sandwich. You understand? Because there's so many information that flows through your brain to tell you how to do these things that it takes lots and lots of therapy. Yeah.
We are moving. That day there was a market. They have the market where people come and buy their things that they are doing by themselves. Let's quickly look at the video clip of the market, how the market looked like. There we seen she's even having a marker there. How did it come that you be so creative with these kids to start the market?
You know, we of course have quite a few things we produce during the year. We're not able, because we're a little bit slower, so we're not able to produce enough on demand in short periods of time, but we can produce enough during the year so that in the end of the year we can have a market. And the market is amazing because this teaches the kids financial skills. So we're trying to teach them that to buy something you must have money. Nee. So you have to bring your money and come buy the sweetie or the item or the whatever you want. It's a practical way of teaching them how to be their own type of entrepreneur. So now I can sell the things that I'm making and make a little bit of income for myself, but at the same time I can also support my friend that's selling cappuccinos next door. So I'm making my money and then I'm giving it to the cappuccino girl, and the cappuccino girl is giving it to the sweetie Okie, and the sweetie Okie is buying plants. And most of the things they did themselves, they made themselves, and a lot of stuff we get sponsored by people that love us and give us their old clothes or their cutlery or their whatever, so that we can sell it on our market, and in that way make a little bit of extra income for our school. Can I talk about money?
Yeah.
Okay, money is a huge problem in the environment that I work in, because we are not just disabled regarding our physical and our mental capacity. We are most of our families are also disabled regarding money, because to take care of a child that becomes 50 or 60 years old, that are always dependent on a pair of parents, is very, very tough job. And you can just think how big the health expenses of these children must be for those parents, and they are always going to be dependent on the parent. So we try to keep, and that's always been my philosophy from the start, is to try to keep our fees as low as possible so that we can help as many as possible people. And still, even though we keep our fees very low, we still have parents that are not able to even cover that fee. Nee? Because the reality is, after COVID, it was just a disaster that, all financial sectors, and many people lost their jobs. And many people lost their jobs for a period of time and regained it again. But that period of time just, caused so much havoc in everybody's finances. So in that regard, I'm very happy to say that we have great people in Bloemfontein, and Bloemfontein is the best city in the country, because we have so many people in private practice and business in Bloemfontein that support us without questions. They support us every year, and they've been supporting us for so many years, so that we can keep our doors open. And I can't name them all, because many of them don't want to be named.
Yeah.
But I can just tell you that we are here because of those people's support. And tomorrow we have a big bunch of businessmen that call themselves TT2C charity bike run, that's coming tomorrow to have a big braaivleis with our children.
Nice, super.
And every year they support us financially so that I can pay salaries to my very wonderful employees.
Super.
Yeah.
We're just going to look at the general video quickly. There was a movie, The Rain Man, with Dustin Hoffman, and I pick that also up there. Let's just watch this video. There, I just wanted to show you the Rain Man is a reality of people. You know, I'm doing karaoke's for ages, and there was even a karaoke there. And let's quickly listen to how they are singing. And apparently, according to Beulah, it's good therapy. She will explain to you what does the karaoke do to these wonderful people. Let's quickly look at a few karaoke clips.
Je leert mijn beest hier in Gauteng. Ik zie daar voor mijn venster naar me weer gedenk. Als toen maak ik het bed en hij klapt die mond. Toen zie ik dus die hoekie van die andere spons. Gautengeling, Gautengeling. I wanna stay in Gautengeling. Ik krijg me streng, maar wat daar heng. Dus lijkt wel goed te weer hier in Gautengeling. When I drive on a big highway, taxis overloaded, so's my AK. I feel safe, I feel good. Call it all the time. He nothing but a hard dog. Call it all the time. You never better have it anywhere, no friend of mine. Said about a high class, said it was a lie. Said about the high class, said it was a lie. You never better have it anyway, no friend of mine.
Beulah, just one question there with the karaoke. How does it help them? Do they read it, or how does it develop their brain, or how does it benefit them?
Well, you know, the big thing about singing is it makes you feel great because you secrete a lot of oxytocin, oxytocin. So you feel just relaxed and great, and so it's great. It's great for them in that way. But with karaoke, you have a screen in front of you, and we have realized with many of our non-verbal autistic children, they are not able to speak, but they can sing.
Yeah.
And we've seen that some of those kids come and stand in front of the screen and they can read. They can sight read and they can sing those songs. It stimulates your memory, it stimulates your reading, it stimulates your planning, it stimulates your anticipation. You have to sing along with somebody else. You have to try to be in tune. You have to be a performer. You have to be able to stand up in front of other people. You have to be able to listen to the music, know when you have to fall in, know when you have to fall out. And they start to learn the music, and then the more they repeat it, the better they get at singing it. And that's also good for your self-esteem. So it's just a fantastic thing. Our neighbors are so gracious and wonderful that they give us the space on a Friday afternoon from 2 to 4 to make a big noise, and we are thankful for that.
I always tell you, music is the universal language of love. We're going to watch our last video clip where they are playing drums. That's also good for their mental progress.
En als het een vrijdag is, dan mag ons muziek zijn. So ek wil graag jou hoor as jy hierdie liedjie ken, speel saam met my. Here we go, boys and girls. 5, 6, 7, 8. Animatie en viola. Goed. En Marie. So, boys and girls, ons het gereed vir ons eerste speelietjie. Trek aan jou baadjie. Leg jou sluit. Wat is die naam van die speelietjie? Volg jou maatjie. Net so. Yes. Very good, Steph. So ek speel gou die speelietjie, sy naam is Volg jou maatjie, en my eerste maatjie is Tineke. En my ander maatjie is Siesle en kom, en Jean vanuit ons sportkantoor, wanneer speel die Springbokke weer? Môre Jaco, teen wie? Teen Skotland. Hoe laat? 3 uur. En speel hulle in Suid-Afrika of in Skotland? In Skotland self, hulle speel in Murrayfield. Murrayfield. Nou ja, toe, vir die bokke gaan ons nou ook 'n kreet doen. Maar vir eers speel ons Volg jou maatjie, ek tel jou in, jy weet hoe dit werk. En die Cheetahs speel môre. Teen wie? Teen die DP. Go Province, maar wie verloor nie? Die Cheetah verloor nie. Speel hulle in bloed? Hulle speel in bloed. Baie mooi, nou ja toe, vanuit ons sportkantoor, daar is dan die opdatering. En ons het gereed vir ons speelietjie, ons sê 5, 6, 7, 8! Go Kitty! Baie mooi!
That was our last video. We're not going to discuss the video. We just wanted to show you how intact Beulah and her people really is. Beulah, in closing, what will you tell our viewers? What is your message to them? They do have maybe children like that, or
My message to the parents is don't ever give up and enjoy your child for what his skills and his abilities are, and try and be positive. And I want to invite anybody out there and parents with children with special needs, come visit us, come see us, make a plan. The kids need each other. They really need each other. They can't be alone. They need to be in a group. They need to have support. They need to have friends, because they also deserve to have a life. Nee. So they deserve to have a life just like the rest of us have a life. So let's give them a life.
on this note, people, really, I was so excited going there, but this is not my last time that Beulah is going to see me. I'm really going to also work on sponsorships in helping her, and I hope you find this program very informative tonight. Until we see one another again, thank you so much for tuning in.